rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 8 of season 2 of At the Movies. So if you're doing the math, it's episode 18. I don't know why that matters, but
10
it's
plus
true.
8. 10 plus 8. That's pretty hard math there. So just in case anybody was wondering.
Listen, I'm just trying to keep our fans sharp, right? Fans. I'm just trying to keep our friends sharp. Hey, folks, we are watching Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? By the Coen Brothers. This is going to be, we've got one more Coen Brothers movie coming up. It's going to be the season finale. It is going to be No Country for Old Men. But before that, update from last week, which we did talk about, but in case you missed it, we have pulled the plug, the Verhoeven train.
We've taken the Paul Verhoeven's filmography off of life support, and unfortunately, we need to make a replacement for the last movie. Because I'm not watching a French film after this season, especially Hollow Man. That ruined it. It's done. Put it in the bag. Wrap it up.
We hit a rock bottom, but out of the rubble, a phoenix emerges, and I think Lo picked a great movie for us to replace it with. It is more in line with the Coen Brothers, and it's so good, in fact, at least I remember the film being so good, that I think that if it goes well, we might even in the future have a potential season on our hands with this director. So without further ado, what were we watching next week?
We are watching There Will Be Blood. And boy, there will be.
Not a scary movie. Sounds very scary. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was the tagline for Saw 2. I think like on the DVD case it said, "Oh yes, there will be blood."
It is a little anxiety inducing though, but it's not scary.
Yeah. It's definitely
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Trust me, I have been the son of an oil baron, and I can tell you firsthand, it is anxiety inducing, my friend. Let's get into Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, so Jimmy, you have or Lo.
It's fine. I think everybody knows.
Sorry.
I think everybody knows at this point. The charade's over.
Stupid.
We would call the show At the Movies with Jimmy and Aaron, but it's just too long and doesn't fit in a title anywhere, so we had to shorten it. So.
Do you see we got it? This is more of a shooting the bit kind of thing. Do you see we got a Twitter follow from some other guy with a show called At the Movies?
Fuck.
But he didn't like. He hasn't DM'd us or anything. I think
wait, no. That's Robert. No, that's one of the guys I've been talking to on Twitter.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, that's a genuine follow. He's actually got a really nice show over on YouTube.
I was checking it out. So, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? This is a movie that you, I believe, were familiar with before this. So I just want to get like your history on the film, when you saw it, how many times you've seen it, and like what did you remember, what was new for you this time around, that kind of thing.
So I think I watched this probably in 2001. I remember my mom rented it, I believe. And surprisingly, when I went to watch this movie, which would be my second time now, I only really remembered the musical bits, like the musical numbers. I didn't really remember the story. I didn't remember what was happening. So kind of, it was like watching it for the first time all over again, except for I already knew, like I remembered the scenes where they were doing like the full band and stuff at the end, and when they're at that like rally for the candidate for mayor, and when they're in that radio station and they're recording that song, like that stuff I remembered. But as far as like the ins and outs of the film, it was like watching it again for me, which was cool. It was great to see it again. I really enjoyed. It was funny, man. It punches. Like some of the quick little jokes in there. It's quick. It's funny. And my favorite part of the movie is probably the fact that Everett there is so determined to have his Dapper Dan pomade that it's the whole reason why the cops are following them anyways, is the smell of his hair. And they even reference it. It's like, why didn't you jump in? He's like, well, I like the smell of my hair. And like the dog's like on him. It's like if he just would have got baptized, the movie could have ended at that point.
So good. I wasn't expecting this to be there's this thing, and I mentioned this to you. There's this thing where like, and this is a weird comparison, but the movie Scream, I saw Scary Movie, and I had seen so many references to the movie Scream. For the longest time, I didn't watch the actual movie because I was like, I kind of know what happens or whatever. And it's the same thing with this. I feel like, so I've never seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou, but I know my dad loves it. I have a lot of friends that love it, especially because of the music. Um, I know that it is based on the Odyssey, and
Yeah.
all of these things kind of wrap together in my brain, probably with a couple of clips I've seen throughout the years. It felt like this was, I was like, oh, like I'm sure I'm gonna like it, but also I feel like I already have kind of almost partially seen it or something. But it was totally surprising, and it was like an adventure film, which I love. It was like a road film.
Yeah.
Like the scenes are, and this plays into the Odyssey thing, but it's like a series of scenes where they are just running into new characters and new, like it really is a journey. The one that the blind man tells them about, the long road at the beginning of the film, but it is this long road with these characters that pop up, and it keeps it very interesting. And I felt like more than anything, this is a movie that there's like some cursing in it, but I think that this is a good movie that you could watch with like your family if they're old enough. Like if you have kids and if they're like, like 12 or 13, like they can handle it. It's not too intense or anything, but it's just like fun adventure film.
Yeah, it
It's
was
easy to
perfect.
root for the characters. It's uh,
We actually watched it yesterday afternoon. So Saturday afternoon, we watched this film, and it was a perfect afternoon film. It just made the afternoon go by. It was nice to watch. It's an easy watch. The time flies by on it. Doesn't really get hung up at any point, and it carries the story through.
uh, I would say it gets a little slow maybe in the middle, but not to the extent that it's a negative, more so to the extent that it just like, again, a good movie for like young people to watch, because it kind of like you have to pay attention to what's going on
Yeah.
to follow it. And it's so funny though, because I mentioned to you there was a point where the sirens came out, and I was like, imagine not knowing, having zero knowledge that the Odyssey was involved with this at all. You'd be so confused. And then I read the Wikipedia page, and it turns out that there was only one person who had read the Odyssey on set.
Oh wow.
uh Joel and Ethan Cohen had they were both like semi familiar with it, but hadn't read it since like high school, which is the same with me. It's this thing where I was really into Greek mythology for a long time, and Norse
Same.
mythology, and
Same.
read a lot of that stuff, King Arthur stuff, and I haven't read that stuff probably since high school, but a lot of it still kind of resides in the back of my brain, to the point where we were watching this, I was able to put together the pieces of, oh, this is kind of supposed to be this moment, and his ex-wife is supposed to be Persephone, and um,
Yeah.
was yeah, I think, and I do kind of take back what I said. I mean, like some crazy things happen in this movie if you're not thinking about it from an Odyssey standpoint, but you don't have to be a scholar in Greek
That
mythology to
like
follow.
the old man on the train, the oracle type character. I thought it was cool when he was like, "You're gonna find out your treasure, but it's not the treasure that you're searching for." And when we finally get to the end, we see the treasure is really just getting his family back, which is wholesome and nice. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
after he gets his ass kicked by by the husband, they're in a round of fisticuffs.
there's these like, man, it is. I just love the Coen Brothers sense of humor. Like it's so dry, and like it's this movie is not like an outright comedy, but the parts that are funny are, yeah, like you have this kind of serious confrontation between Clooney and his ex-wife's new suitor, as they say several times. And when it finally comes to fighting or whatever, they both do the boxer,
Yeah,
like the fisticuffs thing, and they go around in a circle, and he gets his ass whooped. Um, Clooney's a fast talker in this, man. The first thing that I realized when we were watching this, like in that within those first opening scenes, he talks so much. He always has a monologue for everything, and the first like four times he has dialogue, he gets cut off or interrupted by someone because they're like, "We get it. Like, this is, you're going overboard, man." Um, it's funny, and something that I pointed out to you too that I love. This is reminded me of Raising Arizona, in the sense that you have these characters that are Southern. Not that that really has anything to do with it, but the bigger thing being that they are coming from like a place of poverty.
Yeah, it's that
Um,
cliche, like almost backwoods kind of type of character where like you don't expect them to be using the type of dialogue that they're using for sure.
yeah, the dialogue is no, and a part of it is the Greek the Odyssey thing. Part of it is I know that they've said before they've like used the Bible as reference sometimes for dialogue to have these big like, 50-cent words, and it really is charming to hear them talk like that. And not just Clooney, I mean, Tim Blake Nelson as well as John Turturro. Great cast of characters there, you know.
I really like seeing Goodman again as Big Dan Teague.
Big Dan Teague. As speaking of Big Dan, oh, there are some okay, so there are some moments that are a little intense. I take back what I said earlier. I don't take back. I think you could watch it with your kids, but I do. Let's get into some stuff that really surprised me. The first thing being, babyface George Nelson, won't stop saying his name. Very funny character. Shooting a cow. I was like really taken aback by him
Yeah,
just
you were
spraying
because
a
you were like, why
cow.
is he shooting the cow? But actually, as the scene progresses, if he didn't shoot the cow, it would have ran, dude. And when
Right.
that car, bam, right into that cow, I was like, damn.
I love he's like out the window shooting and he looks across the field and he's like, I hate cows more than I hate coppers. Just starts shooting. Crazy stuff. And then the other part being, and this I think just grosses me out on a visceral level because you don't really see it, but it grosses me out. John Goodman, Big Dan, they're carrying around. People have seen the film, but essentially, uh, John Turturro's character Pete, they think is transformed into a frog because they wake up after the sirens drug them, and his clothes are there, but nothing else is there. There's just a frog, and so they think he's a frog, and they carry him around. They go out with Big Dan, and Big Dan mugs him, and takes their friend Pete the frog and just squishes him in his hands. Not only, which is viscerally disgusting, and not only that, he then whips it at the tree, which is just such an insult to injury. Just like, thump, you know, dead frog hitting the tree.
He's probably got one of my favorite lines so far on this season when he's like, I'm a man of a large appetite. I had lunch, but I'm a wee bit peckish. And I was like, man, me too, buddy. Me too, man. I'm a man of large appetite as well. Big Dan.
I feel ya, Big Dan.
That that line made me laugh so much that I was like, oh man, good.
Yeah, he turned around. This is the really intense part of the movie is when they are rescuing Tommy Johnson, who, little side note, is based on Tommy Johnson or Robert Johnson, depending on which legend you subscribe to, who supposedly sold his soul to the devil in order to play guitar, which they talk about a little bit in the movie, which I always thought would make a very cool movie. There probably is a movie already. I thought it would make a cool horror movie, but um, they are saving him from a Klan rally. So, I mean, this does take place in 1937 in Mississippi or Missouri?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. And so that scene is definitely intense. I don't think that I think it works for sure. And I think that it's funny that when Big Dan turns around in his Klan outfit, there's one eye hole. Immediately was like, oh, it's Big Dan under there.
They end
The
up like easing that scene a little bit as they get progressive towards the end when what's his name? Homer, the other mayor candidate that's going against Pappy and he tells everybody that he's part of the secret society. I'm part of the KKK, and everyone's like, no, 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 and
You're
just
right.
completely just get him out of here, get him out of here. And I was like, as they transitioned, it was nice to see. It's like nobody in that world was
Right.
like okay with that, which was a good way.
Yeah, I think the only thing that is questionable today, I think, because I think you can have a scene with the KKK in your film. Harold and Kumar Go to Guantanamo Bay did a very funny scene that was similar, where they have to knock out a couple of Klan members and sneak in. And
It's okay if it
um,
progresses the story. I don't think it's okay if you're just doing it just to do it. Like if you feel like,
shock
oh yeah,
value or
yeah, like
something.
I'm gonna
Right.
show like Klansmen in my film. It's fine as long as it progresses your story. It's not okay if you're just doing it just because you want to shock people.
The only thing that I think is maybe questionable, but I'm not here to talk about it. I think that they pulled it off. All I'm saying is that less tasteful director might not be able to pull this off. Is when their hoods are pulled and they think that they are not white because they have like dirt and like mud all over their face, and it's like kind of a blackface joke, but not really. It's more, to me at least. I mean, what I would say is the people there at the rally are so stupid
That's how I
that
took it.
they can't tell that there are these clearly three white people, that
Yeah, I
it's, and
think
the
it.
lighting is, silly, and it's just, I think it works. I think another director that isn't so tasteful with it might have like more problems with it, but um it is definitely an intense, it's funny, there's like funny moments, there's moments of levity. You see Big Dan get his, and eventually you do see Homer, what's his last name, Homer Stokes,
Homer Stokes, yeah.
or Stokes. Eventually you see Homer Stokes get his comeuppance too. They literally, I've never seen this in a film before, a landmark moment. They ride him out of town on a rail. Everyone starts booing. The Soggy Bottom Boys, in the film's finale, they sneak into, they want to get George Clooney's wife back, and they sneak into this campaign rally and start performing. And as you said, Stokes reveals his alliance to a certain secret society that I don't think I. That was half accent, and then it just went away.
Everybody knows I don't have to. Everybody knows I'm part of a secret society, and it's like, all right, Homer, get off your freaking pedestal there. Everyone's like, what are
Yeah,
you?
and everyone immediately, which I'm confused at the character's motivations. Again, he might be like, he must be so dumb that he thinks that if he reveals this, that like people are gonna be like, yeah, and like everyone is just immediately like, get him out of here,
Let's talk
and they
about.
ride him,
Oh, you're good. Go
put him
ahead.
out of town on a rail.
Let's
It's
talk
it's it's
about
just fun to see.
Homer's character arc of when he's like when we first see him, he's at that rally and he's getting a lot of support, and it seems like everybody's kind of sick of Pappy at this point. And pretty much, I would think if it wasn't for the scene, he would have won the governor race. But because of it, Pappy takes full advantage because it's like being aired
Yeah,
on the radio. Everybody in the state of Mississippi, for some strange reason, is tuned into this event, and it just completely is like Homer's out and Pappy takes full advantage. He's up there dancing, shaking his butt, does that like hot thing. It was just such
yeah,
a
and he.
weird, such a weird scene, man.
It's the Big Lebowski himself.
Mm-hmm.
That actor, he comes on stage. He does, first of all, the pants in this movie. The pants that large men wear in this film are, their waistline is directly below their nipples. It's insane. Second of all, he goes on stage and he does kind of like that like chubby checker like fat guy dance where he's just like moving his belly a lot. And then yes, he does the hot thing where he like turns his butt around and like touches his butt. It's very funny.
Yeah,
Um
favorite.
but the end of this, a lot of the movies feel good, but the end of this movie in particular is just feel good. It's you, once that, even at the rally, you kind of get the feeling. I think after that, I think the clan scene is relatively intense, and I think once they get out of that and they rescue Tommy, it's pretty smooth sailing. You
Yeah,
feel like no matter what's going to happen, like these characters are going to be okay. And even at the end, there is one more climax, one more moment where you think they uh Persephone, his ex-wife, who's not named Persephone, but that's the character from the Odyssey. His ex-wife tells him that she needs this original ring. If she's going to marry him, she needs the original ring he gave her, and it's at their old home, this cabin. And they go to the cabin, and law enforcement's waiting for him there. Even though they were pardoned by Pappy O'Daniel himself on his Flower Hour radio show, they've been pardoned, and they bring it up, and there's this really dark but cool moment, I think, for the characters where the guy is just blatantly like, he's like, law enforcement's a human, institution. You
We
know, he's like, we don't have a radio
we
out
don't
here.
have a radio out here.
Right. So it's clear that it's a personal grudge. They want these guys done with, and they've got three guys digging graves there for them. And um, even when that happens, the movie is such that the tone of the movie is such that I can't imagine an ending that would be so bleak. So you just kind of, like George Clooney's character, you just kind of have faith that something's gonna happen, and it does. It's a great flood, and I do think the end of the movie. I think it would have been great if the last shot of the movie was just George Clooney reacting to the cow on the roof of the house that has been broken apart. Because at the beginning of the film, the Oracle tells them you're going to see it. He laughs at it. He says you're going to see a cow on a roof, and it's just it's so great. And then he immediately goes back to the same thing when they got saved in the beginning of the film. He immediately goes back to being like, well, like there's a perfectly scientific explanation for all this, and you two peckerheads,
Yeah.
can't showing off your wits, because they're totally in on something being on their side. George Clooney is hesitant to
Well, he wasn't hesitant though, because as it's coming down, as they're about to get killed there, and he has no other choice but to get down on his knees and say, Lord, I just want to see my family one last time. I promise. And he's praying. The flood comes and he's saved. And then he goes, well, I told you it was going to get flooded. I told you this valley was getting flooded. What else? It's like, dude, you were like 10 seconds ago, like, please, please, please. And he's like, I told you it was getting flooded. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Can't remember if it's Pete or Delmar, but one of them is like, sure is a different tune than you were singing on the gallows back there, because he just immediately reverts back to, it's so funny. Yeah, a lot of funny moments in this. The beginning of the movie, Coen Brothers have a way with dialogue. We always talk about this, but the characters repeating lines and stuff. There's a moment in the beginning of the film when they're staying with the Pete's cousin, where the cops find them, and like 4 times in a row, George Clooney is like, "They got us in a tight spot," or he says like, "Tight spot we're in." And like nobody's listening to him or reacting, so he just keeps saying it over and over, and it's just so funny. Man, if there's anything we pull from this, and I'm sure we'll talk about it at the end of the season, but the way that they just write characters to react to each other, and their dialogue is it's always like, feel like the plot in a good way is almost secondary to the characters. Like it's built around the characters.
Yeah, I think in season 1 we got a technical aspect with Scorsese and Cronenberg as far as like film and effect, and now in season 2 we're really getting like a master class on like dialogue writing and storytelling with the Coen brothers.
What about Verhoeven?
What?
What? What about the dialogue in Hollow Man? What about the dialogue?
Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been At the.
Oh boy! Speaking of which, I think by the time this comes out, we'll have already figured it out. So, but we are going to announce on. I guess this is 2 episodes down the line, but good to have it on your radar. We're going to be doing something for season 3. I think we're going to be doing something different for season 3.
Yep.
And if it works, cool. We have a bunch of ideas for different ideas for seasons, and if it doesn't work, we definitely have a few more seasons in us that are director only, because there's a lot of people we haven't touched yet that we want to. So, but keep that on your radar. I think we're going to do something different next season, and we hope you guys enjoy it.
We're actually doing. Not only are we doing something different for season 3, but I think we're going to. Oh, not think. I know we're going to be putting out more content too. More episode related things. Not to get into specifics now, but there might be a week where there's 2 episodes that come out, and as we enter into the final, once the last drive-in with old Joe Bob is done, we'll go to do our fan favorite Fridays. But baby, I am so happy you got me hooked onto that, man. So happy.
Yeah, let's move into recommendations. It's the end of the show. Yeah, Lo was at our house, or at my house.
Our house, as you'll see in episode.
Our house in the middle of the street. Uh, yeah, our house. Yeah, you're right. Um, oh, that was a huge call forward to a sketch
Yeah,
that isn't out yet, and
yeah,
it went over my head.
yeah. No, that's
Great,
episode
great
11
stuff.
of the Lomo Show, Our House.
Great stuff. So there's this show, and I plugged it last week. I'll plug it again. The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. He is a movie buff, expert commentator. Has been doing this since the '80s. He had a show on TNT called Monster Vision. He had another show. He had other Joe Bob Briggs shows in the past, but he has picked up a show on Shudder where every Friday night they show two surprise films, typically horror movies, but you will get the occasional like action film, or they really do look for, they a lot of times they split it up between something newer and something older and not well known. Um, and it is a mixed bag. Sometimes you love the movies, sometimes you don't, but there's this feeling of like surprise. You don't know what you're going to watch. Two, if you're watching it with somebody, like we watched partied it together this weekend. We were just texting the whole time, and that's fun. And three, the hashtag is so active on Twitter that there's just people all around the world watching this thing live, and it's just a really fun Friday night for me. To me, so big recommendation there. And in fact, we've talked about, I mean, I don't mind spoiling this because who knows if it'll happen. Hopefully it will. It might be a while, but Jimmy and I, Lo and I, have talked about doing our own kind of show.
Yep.
I know there's ways to stream via Twitch where you can show things on Prime, and if you guys have Prime, you can watch along with us. And we would love the ability to do what he does and to watch movies with you in a kind of advanced form of at the movies,
Yeah.
where we're all at the virtual theater together. So
I think that's where a lot of
um,
directions going as far as I think people are looking for that because even though as things slowly are starting to get better and there's some kind of like normalcy on the horizon of whatever you think that's going to be, people are still switching away from the big media, the big television, and looking for more smaller communities to kind of grow in and get like interactions with, which is huge. And that's what we're trying to build here, not just for At the Movies, but for LoMo Media in general. The main building block of this is just building a community.
so folks, all that being said, as Lo mentioned, I think there's going to be some bonus content on the way. And for now, we're not putting it behind a paywall, but if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy the bonus content, might go behind the paywall someday. So we would love if you had $3 a month to spare. You can join our Patreon. There's higher tiers as well, but $3 is, I think, a bargain. Patreon bonus that you will get for supporting us is being able to watch the movies for At the Movies in real time with us. And you can get our thoughts on the film as we're watching it. You can join in on the conversation. Let us know what you think about the movies. You don't have to wait until the video comes out and comment on the YouTube videos. We could in real time watch the film together and talk about it. That I think is alone kind of like the Joe Bob Briggs thing. Just it's fun to, in this, as Jimmy said, things are hopefully getting better, but in uncertain times, it is great to find community online of people, new friends and new people to watch movies with, and the things that we love. So please consider that. Otherwise, we've got 2 episodes left in the season, baby. We cruised this season.
Yeah, we did.
I think if it went by so quick, and so we've got There Will Be Blood next week, and then
Mhm.
our season finale. You can expect to hear all about our rankings for the season, as well as some insight into season 3.
Hell
So,
yeah.
have a great one, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been At the Movies with Lo and Mo. We'll see you next week.